Hi, my name is Peder Lindell. I play Morgie in Descendants: The Rise of Red, and you're watching Pop Culture with Pat.
Guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. So I'm so excited to be joined by today's guests. Today I'm talking to Peder Lindell, who is starring in the upcoming Descendants 4, The Rise of Red. He plays Morgie in the film. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Peter.
Thanks so much for having me, Pat. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, no problem at all. So I wanted to, because you got a pretty extensive history. You've definitely done a lot in your career already so far. So I wanted to kind of start off from the beginning. You come from like a theatrical background, so what was it kind of that drew you initially to the arts in the first place?
I think it was a culmination of a bunch of things. I was in a touring choir when I was super young, so that's what was the initial spark. But I come from a small town with two colleges, and there was a lot of artistic influence in the town, a lot of people doing bigger than the things that were going on around us. So there was a lot of inspiration around me. And from that choir, I started doing opera, and I started doing that in the cities in Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul. And I started doing musical theater from that, and I fell in love. It was incredible.
Yeah, so you've just always kind of been surrounded from it basically right from the start, it sounds like.
Yeah, totally.
And what made, so I know, and then you kind of made your jump over into, doing film and stuff like that. So what kind of led to that decision to jump into that aspect of it as well?
Sure. I mean, as an actor, I guess acting, I like to say, transcends mediums, whether it's on film, whether it's on theater, on stage, wherever we're at, it's the same thing. And because I started in opera and in theater, I found a passion for that, and I loved that. And I also loved watching movies. I wanted to give it a shot, and I think, there was always a part of me when I was watching stuff like Disney Channel on screen that I was inspired to want to do that someday. And it was a hard transition. I will say that it was not easy at all. People who say that it's easy, that's is not true. If you're good at acting, you will also be good at acting on screen, but you might be talking way too loud for the audio guy, and his ears are gonna be like blown out. And the camera doesn't lie too. Tiny little movements will be shown, and that's so much fun. It's just such a fun element.
Little did you know, doing some of this stuff earlier on in your career was preparing you for taking on a role like this in the upcoming Descendants movie.
Little did I know. Yes, emphasis on little. I could not have guessed this at all. But I did watch the Descendants movies. I was a fan. My sister and I would watch them in front of our TV when we were younger. And I always thought, I was like, well, I could do that. Like I could totally do that. But I had no way of getting there at that point. It seemed like such a far off goal. So I stayed true to what I was doing, and it led me there. And I'm so thankful for it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Like, what kind of was your background with the relationship with the Descendants movies, but also just with like Disney itself, like in general? So obviously, you said you watch those. Did you watch any of the other kind of like Disney Channel original movies, or just any
Oh
other
yeah.
Disney movies in general?
Sure. I mean, well, specifically Disney Channel. I watched like all the shows that were on there. Wizards of Waverly Place, Kicking It. I mean, what were some other good ones? I mean, it was, as a 2000s baby, it was our childhood. We
Yeah,
grew up on that stuff, and to finally be a part of it is a very surreal experience.
a dream come true for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've done. I know it's probably several years ago now. I feel like time just like flies, but I remember them having their 100th Disney Channel original movie. And it's just like, man, I remember it would be like every Friday or Saturday night, you would have a new one coming out. I'd be
Yeah.
like sleeping over a friend's house or something, getting ready to sit down and watch the new Disney Channel original movie. I'm a big like Halloween and horror like person, so some of the like scarier ones that they did, like Don't Look Under the Bed, Under Wraps, and stuff like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Then you have like the High School Musical series, which
Oh
was,
my gosh.
obviously
That
that
was
was
huge.
was huge. And
Yeah.
that's,
Teen Beach movies were big too.
yep. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a crazy legacy for you to be, a part of one of these films now. Did you come up, so you play Morgie in the film, did you kind of come up with a background for that character at all? And how did you just want to approach playing them based off the description that you got?
Sure. I mean, I can't say too much on the background of Morgie besides what we have out there, but it was definitely a challenge because the stories of Morgana Le Fay are definitely limited. You know, there's the King Arthur's Table, Knights of the Round Table, Sword in the Stone, these different sort of stories that illuminate some of that world for us and for Morgie. But it was just an incredible experience to have the opportunity to create someone entirely new. It was you don't often get that chance as an actor. Disney gave me a lot of creative freedom to discover who Morgie was. And yes, that was based off of the script and the log lines that they gave me. But I guess a little introduction for Morgie. I've been telling this in a lot of my interviews, and I think it's been sort of a fun line. It's I like to say that he is funny, but he's a little is a little ignorant, but he's lovable because he's ignorant.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no,
of course, wicked.
yeah, of course, of course.
Okay, of course.
But yeah, no, I mean that's cool though. I feel like in a way maybe that's yeah, it's even better for you as like an actor just to kind of be able to create like a new character where you don't have a lot necessarily to go off of because then you can kind of really make the character, your own. You don't have like other iterations where it's like, oh, like this person did it this way. Like I want to kind of make sure that the character's different but still the same. So that must have been yeah, really nice and just freeing for you to be able to do that.
Totally. Yeah, it was fun. And as soon as I got the role, actually before I got the role, as soon as I got the script for the first audition, I had this character in my head that just came to me right away. It was like I hopped in and the way that the lines interacted with the other lines, it sounds a little like cheesy saying it out loud. I just formulated this character in my mind, the way he held himself in his body, the way he kind of talks a little bit differently. There were a bunch of different elements that were so much fun to play with.
What was like the audition process like for this character and can you just talk a little bit about the reaction of once you found out that you were cast in this film?
Yeah, yeah, it was quite a short process actually. I got the audition, and I think it was September, maybe October, 2 years ago, and it was all online. You know, we were still sort of in COVID times, recovering from that. So it was a self-tape initially, and then I heard back from the casting director the next morning. They were like, we're interested in you. Let's do a callback. So we set up a callback on Zoom, which
Wow.
was super fun. And it was also daunting because keep in mind, I'm a college student. I was in a college dorm. And the Wi-Fi is spotty. You're dealing with roommates that are not always reliable. You
You're like,
might have
guys,
crazy
come on.
sound. And you have like all these like top people in the Disney Descendants world like on your computer and you're acting for them. And it worked out. It did work
Yeah.
out. And obviously I got the role. My agent at the time called me to the agency and he's like, I need to talk to you about something. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? And we're talking. He's like, you got the role. And it was the most like I don't even have the words for it. I was like in shock. And I sort of started like crying. And I was just like, it was a wave of emotions. I'm like, I need to call my mom, my dad. I called my sister. She was screaming. She's a big fan
That's
of Descendants. But it was great. It gives me a smile just thinking about it now.
that's so cool. Yeah, I mean, just like you said, I mean, you were a big fan of them, just the channel and stuff growing up. So to get to actually be, a character in one of these films on that channel that you grew up watching, it's kind of like a full circle moment for you.
Totally. Totally.
And I know you can't say, too much, so not necessarily going into like plot details or anything, but just what are some of your favorite memories, I guess, that come to mind when working, on this film and just working with the wonderful cast that you guys had on this project?
Yeah, Pat, I have so many incredible memories. I think one of my favorites is probably we did a Palentine's Day. It was Valentine's Day. We called it Palentine's Day. And the cast, we all got together and we made like this brunch. We had like bacon and like pancakes and this wonderful charcuterie of foods. And we just hung out all day and had the greatest sort of cast bonding time. And that honestly, even though being on set was incredible, huge set, tons of moving parts, a lot of the stuff that I truly valued coming out of this project was the people involved, the cast specifically that has become my family now. I was just texting the group chat prior to this interview, talking to them. And we're constantly talking. I'm going to Kylie's birthday tomorrow. We have like a film festival that we've been going to this week. But yeah, I mean it's been great. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of a good set memory for you. There was some, actually my favorite set memory was shooting Perfect Revenge. There
Okay.
was, I don't know if you've seen the movie yet.
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. Yep.
You know the entrance to the lair when we're jumping on the rocks. It was this big green screen. So we're just making this all up in our heads and we're doing this crazy parkour. Like I'm doing spins from rock to rock, and they had this camera on this huge crane moving, and that was really fun.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, yeah, the sets and stuff that it looked like that, just from watching the movie, they looked incredible. And that, it's nice too. You never know from project to project, you might, work with these people and that just might be the one time you meet them just for that project. But sometimes you develop these relationships with these people and it's like you guys become, friends for the rest of your lives. So that's great that you guys kind of just got well together, with each other so well for the filming of this movie.
Totally. And I think that'll translate on screen entirely. Our
Yeah.
bond. Uh, yeah, love those guys.
I find that happens too. Like you can definitely tell, I think, as like an audience member watching something where, you can tell that you guys clicked right away and just had that friendship. It comes across on screen for sure.
Totally. Well, good. I'm happy.
Yeah. So and I also, so like I said, you have a pretty like impressive resume. I saw that, you're training for skydiving certification. You're an instrument rated commercial pilot. So what kind of just led to your fascination with the world of stunts like overall?
Oh man, I don't know. I think there have been several inspirations for me, watching action stars like Tom Cruise and Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee. Yeah, I would watch those and be like, whoa, I really want to do that. And also, I mean, once you try this stuff, if you can get over the fear, the initial fear, it's this incredible thrill that I've never felt anywhere else in my life. I mean, jumping out of a plane, if you've done it before, the
I
feeling.
definitely won't be doing that.
Well, I'll give you a good explanation. The feeling is the most electric feeling in the world. And you get addicted, and with flying planes too. I mean, it's freeing. It's a world where I can escape all the troubles in my life. Not that there are a lot of troubles, but if there were, I could escape them in the sky.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I'm a huge fan of so many things. I think the world has so much to offer, and if I just sit around and don't take part, I might regret it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you're living your life to the fullest. You kind of got your hand in a little bit of everything. Now, when it comes to like stunts, where you're talking about you would love to do some of these, these like crazy stunts for projects, do you kind of have like a dream role, involving stunts that you would love to work on or be a part of like in the future, like maybe a Mission Impossible movie or something like that?
Yep, you hit it right on the nod. That is the dream role. I would love to do a spy movie like that, a Mission Impossible movie, or even like Jason Bourne or James Bond. All of those would be so cool. I think my skill set definitely fits that world. And don't get me wrong, when with a movie like Descendants, I love the musical theater. I love the singing, the dancing. There's a part of me that thrives there, but there's the other half of me that would love to do this crazy stunts world and action that you're talking about. It's
Well, hey, I know, correct. I believe this is the case. I don't know if they've like made anything official, but I've heard like rumblings of, rebooting kind of the James Bond franchise in like the next like several years. So, I mean, maybe that's something that we'll see, being part of one of these films that they decide to reboot it.
You never know. You never know.
What do you, so I'm curious, like when it comes to different projects, like what do you look for in a role, before you say, yes, that's something that I want to be a part of?
Sure. I think it's a bunch of things. Obviously, it's the character and the depth of the role and whether it's something that I can truly relate to. As an actor, you're always looking for things in your character or things in your life that you can bring into your character and whether you do it proper justice. I think also one thing that I like to think about is what is the movie trying to say? Like what's the message? Where is it being released? Where is it being produced? Who's producing it? Who's working on it? There's a lot of questions, and generally it's all good things, but sometimes it's something that doesn't click perfectly with you. And if so, then maybe it's not the best world for you, because if you go into the set and start working and it just really isn't great and the movie's there forever, it could be a bad choice. But yeah,
Yeah, no, that's always important just to make sure it's the right fit for you, like overall. And can you just talk a little bit about, what is we got Descendants, coming out, soon in a couple weeks. So I mean that's obviously going to be very exciting for you. Can
yeah,
is there anything else that you'd like to say about that film, just like overall what fans can expect, and then what's next for you, and where can fans keep up to date with your work?
for sure. Well, so Descendants: The Rise of Red is a action-packed, dance-packed, music-packed, crazy movie that I hope you guys are going to enjoy thoroughly, and I think you will. And please let me know. And well, I mean, the music for one is off the charts. I think it's going to do very well. In your guys' eyes. I think the dancing, the choreography done by Ashley Wallen. I mean, you all saw him in Greatest Showman, and all of our jaws dropped. He's back, and and that was an incredible experience working with him. So many great things, and I really truly hope that you guys enjoy it. For me, coming up, I have a short film, Scraps, coming out. It's in a film festival right now, Dances with Films and Outfest in Hollywood. And we're working on the feature coming up, so stay
Awesome.
tuned for that.
And then, yeah, where can fans keep up to date with work? Do you have like Instagram, social media that people can give you a follow at, as far as just keeping up to date with that?
Yeah, Instagram, it's Peder Lindell, Peter with a D. And TikTok, you can see all my aviation stuff on there and other fun stuff as well.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna have to give you a follow on there, or both of them for sure, Peter. Because yeah, definitely, I want to
Yeah.
check out. I'm okay with watching the stuff, but when it comes to doing, I'm not so great when it comes to like heights. So you won't catch me doing any of those crazy stunts. But I can definitely watch. Like that's fine. And yeah, like I said, got to see the film, and I actually have one particular song, like the Red song, like her like main theme.
Yes.
That song has just been like stuck in my head actually, just like today, thinking about it. So I think
Yeah,
there's going to be
literally.
some songs that people really connect with, and they're just going to be on their playlist for a while. So thank you so much, Peter, for I really appreciate you coming on here talking about Descendants, but also just talking about your career. Like I said, you got a lot going on. I can't wait to see what's next for you, and congratulations on the movie. And you're welcome back anytime in the future.
Thanks, Pat. It's been great to be here. Hi, my name is Peder Lindell. I play Morgie in Descendants: The Rise of Red, and you're watching Pop Culture with Pat.